It's like that little man syndrome, you know? It's like the Napoleon complex. It's like you like look over at the guy in the bar and he's like, what you talking about? Like, you know, like, and you're like, bro, I was just like looking over, like I was like, they're just whatever. I'm a CSCS associated with the National Strength and Conditioning Association. My friend here is Ortega, who are you certified through?
From NASM.
So the NASM CPT.
Yep. CPT 7.
That's awesome. What I know is I've trained with you a couple times. The first time you didn't know I was a trainer.
Yeah.
The second time, because I paid for a couple personal training sessions where he works, and I the first time I'm like, oh, let me see what he's like. Second time, I was like, all right, now we can have like a really good conversation because I'll let you know like I'm a trainer. And then like we both like got together to work out like 2 times.
I think so. Yeah, we did 2 times, different Wednesdays.
Yeah, we gotta work out more together. But you know, you really killed me with your training and your little bit bodybuilding style, which is nice. You can get some muscle, lose some fat. So if you guys are looking around the Melville area, check out his social media. What's your social media that you use to contact people?
Right now I'm on Instagram at Ogena88.
Okay. So let's just say what got you into fitness in general? Just like when was the first time you remember lifting weights or working out?
Well, in high school, I would go to the gym, but I wouldn't really call that lifting because back then it was more so my parents forcing me to go because I was kind of on the heftier side of things. And it pretty much stayed that way until I want to say 2020. Yeah, that was the year. I remember I was with a bunch of my friends at the time. One of our friends just came back from boot camp in the Army, and he got in crazy shape. So it kind of made me like a little jealous on the inside, but nothing crazy. And, one day we were just all chilling, I think it was like a barbecue party. And one of us just decided, hey, you guys want to start going to the gym tomorrow? It's like, sure, why not? So literally, I think the very next day we all got memberships at Planet Fitness of all gyms. And then ever since then, we just kept going.
So that's the thing about Planet Fitness. A lot of people like to like tease it in the fitness community, but if you really actually take advantage of the equipment they have, although they don't have the ability to get you past that beginner stage, they can give you the capability to burn some calories, get a little bit of strength in an environment that's clean and good to go for you. From there, you decide to work your way past that novice point. You can like go to another gym, but it's a really cheap, low barrier entry option, you know?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You know, obviously there's some things that I don't like too much about what they, have at that gym, but there's a lot I do like, and some of my family members go there as well, and it's perfect for them, you know?
Oh, yeah. I won't lie. I think Planet Fitness probably has the best like core equipment out of any gym I've been in so far.
Because, like the machines.
Yeah, like they have, I don't know if you've ever seen, there's this one crunch machine, but instead of just the normal handles on it, it's like cables attached. So the resistance
that's cool.
Is like crazy.
Yeah, so I know that their machines are really high quality. I've used their machines. Their dumbbells are a little bit too light, so getting a little bit heavier on the dumbbells would be nice. At least the one that I went to. Their cardio machines are great. I wish they had barbells. So there's positives and negatives like every gym. Some of the gyms I've been to, they're great and they've got the dumbbells, the barbells, but they're too small. Some of them, like, it just all depends upon, where you're going at any given point. If you want to get into some of the biggest problems you've seen and worked with, with friends, with other people that really were like a struggle for you, like if we can get into some of your biggest struggles fitness wise and how that got you into being a personal trainer.
Yeah, I would say honestly, at first, the biggest struggle was definitely just being consistent with it, because like after years of never going to the gym, constantly like not applying myself, it was kind of hard to suddenly be in the mindset of, oh, I have to get up now at like 6 in the morning so I could go work out.
Yeah.
and then come back instead of just, waking up, going on YouTube or going on my phone.
Yeah.
So definitely for like the first like couple of months, that was really rough. I'd say what really pushed me through that was having my friend group at the time. I think I'm really lucky that it wasn't just myself going at first.
Yeah.
I had an entire support system. It was about 6 of us, and definitely a lot of clowning around. You have 6 people working out. You can imagine how the bench press must
I,
have
I,
looked
I
like.
remember those days. Now I work out. Well, actually, the funny thing is, I got into fitness completely differently than you.
Really?
Yeah, I went to karate in second grade, where they worked a lot of flexibility sports throughout my entire young age, and then into middle school and high school. Lifting, started working out on my own with weights in seventh grade, alone in my garage.
Oh
No,
wow.
no, no music, nothing. Like I still lift with no music,
Really?
completely silent.
Oh my
Gotta hype
god.
myself up. Like just like for me, it's all about keeping everything like tight to that perfect technique. So when people come to work out with me and they're like, "Where's music at? Blah blah blah. Where's your speakers?" I'm like, "We're in a hot garage, dude. This is it. This is how we work. This is what we do." You ever see Rocky working in his Russian thing with the
Oh
tricep extensions?
yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have any music. That music that's playing in the background, that was added for our benefit. Like he was working there and just thinking about the grind. He was just thinking about fighting that guy, um,
Yeah.
Drago. So you got any? I saw you had a wrestling shirt on the other day. Did you ever
Oh yeah.
wrestle, or was that just a shirt that you had laying
No,
around?
I wrestled in middle school and high school.
Okay.
So in middle school, I started wrestling in 7th grade,
Mm-hmm.
and then once I got to 8th grade, instead of wrestling for just the 8th grade team, my coaches decided to call me up to the varsity team up in the high school. So I
Nice.
was basically wrestling with the high schoolers after every 8th grade day. After
Nice.
that, I wanted to continue, but my parents actually didn't allow me at first.
To go to college wrestling
No, and
in high
as a
school.
freshman in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, so after I finished 8th grade, went to 9th grade, and I was super, super motivated to keep going because in 7th grade, I pretty much, not to, I guess, put like a chip on my shoulder or anything, but I pretty much dominated 7th grade, but it's middle school, so no one really, you
Yeah.
know. 8th grade was definitely a lot tougher.
Well, yeah, it changes when you get to high school.
Yeah, especially practice wise. Like practicing with high school really opened my eyes at the time that I'm out of shape and I should probably do something about it. Took me a couple of years to do something about it, but hey, better late than never.
Well, but the thing is, even like wrestling, being fit in a wrestling context is different than being fit in a weightlifting context. Now
Oh
you
yeah,
can weightlift for wrestling, you can get stronger and stuff, but it is definitely a difference in conditioning. That's if you haven't wrestled, it's nothing that you can actually explain to people.
yeah. It's like it's super tough trying to put into words. There's just no. I think being in wrestler shape is like one of the hardest things you can do when it comes to like fitness.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of dedication.
It's an explosive endurance sport.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You have to constantly be explosive. It's almost like football, but if you're in football, your coach can pull you out if you're looking like you're lagging a little bit. When you're on the mat, that's you.
that's all you.
If you start lagging in the middle of the second period or third period, you can't be pulled out and throw, a fresh player in, you know.
Yeah, you better start praying at
Yeah.
that point something happens.
But yeah,
Which
so
is
it's crazy.
which honestly is why I kind of one of the main reasons I really love wrestling. It's like compared to every other like high school sport at least, you don't have like a team necessarily to rely on. Like you have like
Yeah.
meets where it's team versus team obviously, but for the most part like in tournaments, you can't you can't really blame it on your team if you lose. If you lose a match, that's
Yeah.
all on you. You have to take all the weight from that match and go back with it.
That
And
makes it really tough.
Yeah.
So what's your biggest struggle in wrestling? Your biggest win? Because those two things are, the biggest things you take out of your high school career. You remember. I remember my biggest struggle and I remember my biggest win. But this is more about you. So what's
My biggest struggle. So I think it was my senior year. We had our very first home tournament, King of the Mat. Everybody was hyped for it, and I think in my bracket at the time, I was wrestling for 220, and we just got a new 220 competitor in our county by the name of, I think, Elijah. I'm blanking on his last name, but basically, I didn't know at the time. Elijah was already a two-time state champion in 195, and he just came up to 220. In my mind, I never heard of him before because he wasn't in my weight class. So, and I see him walking down the hallways. He's big, yeah, but he has like curly hair. You kind of don't get the impression like, oh, this guy's probably going to be a cakewalk, right? And right before I get on the mat, I remember my coach telling me, like, they're warming you up. And he goes, just remember, most important thing here is just to have fun. And as soon as he said that, I started panicking because I don't remember my coach ever telling me to have fun a day in my life. I get on the mat, we shake hands. As soon as the ref calls for it, the dude immediately starts approaching me. 15 seconds later, I'm on my back. He has me in a headlock. The match is over. And I'm just looking up. I'm seeing stars. I'm just
yeah.
wondering, like, was that it? Did the match just end? Like, I'm looking at my coach, and he's not even looking at me anymore. He's just, like, looking at his notes. I'm looking at the crowd. It's my home crowd, and I'm hurt.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
really hurt. It's so bad to the point where my next match afterwards, I didn't even try. I basically just went on the mat and said, I just want to go home. I'm having a bad day.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things is being able to pick yourself up after a loss, and that's really tough. I know
Yeah.
that, for me, I put my entire heart into it. My coach said that I was the hardest worker he'd seen in 30 years when he was giving out, he was giving out like, the wrestling awards, and I got like the hardest working award.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like most successful, MVP, all this stuff. And, you know, in my senior year, I got the hardest working award, and he said he's the hardest worker I've seen in 30 years. But I never won a single tournament,
Really?
not a single tournament.
Honestly, I would prefer to have the hardest working award because it shows at the very least you have the resolve, like you're not
I'd still
gonna,
like to be a hard worker and have
but
a
still,
tournament under
yeah,
my
have
belt,
the win.
because I know
Yeah.
there are guys who just slid their way into like, first place wins at the tournaments, and I'm like, come on. All right, so moving a little bit forward from you, philosophy on training. Like let's take this and now turn it into how should someone train for success when they step into the gym that first time? Because I know you've probably made mistakes in that process, and then you got educated. You took your test. Now you're training people.
Yeah.
What are the biggest, I don't like to call failures. What are the biggest pain points people have that they can't get over? For me, what I see people can't get their diets tightened up.
Yep.
But for you, like what are your like big two or three things that you'd tell, someone coming into the gym the first time?
Um. Honestly, at well, in terms of the like the weightlifting side, the actual work you're putting in the gym, I'd say one of the biggest struggles I've seen, at least over the past couple of years, definitely people trying to get on sort of like fad workouts. Like they'll try and stick to specific plans they see on Instagram or TikTok. When in reality, I would say the best thing you could probably do once you're in the gym, even if you know nothing, you just have to find any exercise that you like you're having fun with. Because if you're not having fun with it and you keep going, you're just making things 10 times harder for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I think people have this sort of conception in their heads that if they don't do a specific type of workout, they're not going to see results or
Yeah.
they're not going to see it as fast as they want. And I would
Yeah.
just say at that point, you have to understand that the results are going to happen. It just takes time. It's
Yeah.
not going to be an overnight process. you have to find something that you like, and even if you're not seeing results with it that quickly, you will see results with it as long as you do enough proper research. I'd say, like, don't go just on Instagram and follow anybody and anybody you see nowadays.
Yeah.
I'd say just find a good amount of times that you know you're going to be in the gym. If you're going to be in the gym 3 to 4 times a week,
Something that you like that's simple. You know, you can just
exactly,
keep it going. And again, I call that my, the suboptimal routine that you can stick with is going to get you better results than the perfect routine you never hit. You
exactly.
know what I mean? You can write the perfect routine out on paper. You never get in the gym. It's not going to do anything for you. I've seen people get much better. I've seen people get much better results on like, oh, I'm gonna, hit, you know, just chest this day. I'm gonna hit just back that day. Like that's not optimal for like the regular guy
Yeah,
because that that requ- in order to get a significant amount of volume on any one body part, you should be hitting it like twice a week.
yeah.
And there's other rules and stuff like that, but that does work for people, especially the beginners. And I
Oh
followed
yeah,
that routine for years. Like after I did my athletic training in high school, I went into college. I did the typical bro split where you hit chest, back, and you split it up like that.
yeah.
It's not the best way to do it. It's just a very old fashioned way to do it, and it works for the beginners, and it's fun.
Exactly.
You
At the
know,
end of the day, yeah, if you're not having fun, you're not going to keep going, Like people, if you don't have something in the gym that makes you excited to be there, then
yeah,
why are you going to keep going,
yeah,
Like like I said, when I first started, I went with a bunch of my friends, and I'm so grateful because we didn't know anything
yeah.
that much about it, but somehow, some way, we stumbled upon a program by complete accident. We ended up doing sort of an inverse of push pull legs.
Yeah,
So, well, I think the first day we started, we did chest, biceps, triceps for no reason. We just decided that seemed fun. We
yeah,
did that. Next day we did back and shoulders. Then we did legs, and we just stayed doing that for about 4 months without even realizing we technically made up a program. We were just
that
doing,
was working.
whatever was working. Yeah, but
So if we ignore her, she won't bark. But if
huh,
we acknowledge her, she will bark.
all right.
So that's just kind of how she is. She's standoffish. Um, that
Oh,
dog is
she's a
the
little cute.
she's cute, but that's the weirdest dog ever because she's known us. She's known us for 3 years now, dude. And literally, if you even look at her, like acknowledge her, she'll just start barking at you. Like if you like are running out to work, she'll just run after you barking. She'll never bite. She'll never nothing, but she
Really?
stays too far away to pet, so you can't go and pet her. And then like she'll bark at you, and it's like, oh, but if you don't even look at me, it's fine. It's like that little man syndrome. It's like the Napoleon complex. It's like you like look over at the guy in the bar, and he's like, what you talking about? Like like, and you're like, bro, I was just like looking over, like I was like, they're just whatever, like. So yeah, she's got the little woman syndrome right there. But yeah, if you
Yeah,
ignore her, she'll just walk around and then
I
leave.
respect it. She wants to mark her
Yeah,
territory.
she's the tough one. Um, so yeah, basically keep what you want, and sometimes, like you said, you guys went in and you hit something that you didn't necessarily realize was a good routine, but you went, okay, this is what we're going to hit today, and then it comes out and it actually works out to be something that's pretty decent. Like
Yeah,
there are these intuitive feelings that your body gives you that a lot of people don't realize how important it is to follow what their body is telling them. you know
yeah,
like because if you're hitting biceps, it feels natural to hit triceps. you know
exactly. But
like if you walk into the gym, it doesn't feel natural to hit biceps and then try to do a bunch of backflips. Like I obviously I'm like making a joke here, but like it feels natural to go into triceps,
yeah,
pull, push, and you go back and forth between the two. If you're doing biceps, it feels natural to do pull-ups right afterwards, and
yep,
then you could do superset. Like these are things that like you get into the gym a couple weeks, it just feels good to do them, and you're actually hitting it. Now you can optimize it. You can, then go into, multiple planes of motion, sagittal, frontal, kind of like even out your body a bit. But like, you don't need to necessarily know that off the bat your first couple months. You hit what feels good. You do biceps, triceps, push, pull. You're evening it out. That's good.
Yeah,
all right,
because
so
even like towards the beginning, I would say, even though I'd say we came up with that program, we definitely didn't. We definitely were making a lot of mistakes, and it's kind of funny. Ever since I took the test, it's kind of clearer now to see like, wow, we really did not know what we were doing a lot of the times. Like, we would train for abs, for example, and first time in the gym, we just thought, okay, let's do a bunch of planks, a lot of crunches. That'll definitely make them pop out. Now knowing what I know,
it's a lot of diet.
Yeah.
That's a big part. So besides fad workouts, what would be like, we're going to do like 2 examples of like what people make mistake in the gym. So aside from not following fad workouts, finding what you like, what would one more suggestion be for someone walking into the gym first day?
First day in the gym, I would say definitely avoid ego lifting.
That's a good one.
Definitely don't do it. I mean, because once I started, that was pretty much right out the gate. Especially because you're with your friends, you gotta compete.
You injured.
Yeah,
that'll get you injured. I've seen so many guys, especially the younger guys, coming in, and sometimes I'll go tell them. Like if it's excessively bad, I'll just walk over and I'll be like, guys, like I've gotten injured. Like, and obviously I'm the old head in the gym now, where like people are like, oh, screw off, old man, I'm fine, whatever. And it's like, well, in 10 years when you're 25, I'm not an old man, but I'm an old man compared to you. It's like I can see them like in their eyes. It's like, no, I've got testosterone levels of like 800 right now, and I can handle it for the rest of my life. It's like, no, that's going to hurt. Your back's going to feel that in 10 years, and you keep doing it at my age, you keep doing it at our age, it's going to feel it even worse when you're 35, so you keep that technique down. I really like that. That's important. So you said that like when you first started off, like suggestions for newbies, you said in the gym. Now, what are your other suggestions? Because you qualified that. You said, well, my first suggestions for people in the gym. What are some other things like health-wise that you'd like to get out there into the world?
So when it comes to like, trying to like, I guess, lose off the body fat, put on the muscle, just get in shape overall, outside of the gym, a lot of it's going to be your diet, obviously. You cannot train a bad diet. So you really have to focus on making sure you're hitting your macros correctly. You're eating proper, clean foods, staying off processed foods, honestly. If you can't do that, it doesn't really matter how often you train, you're not going to see the results. And you also have to be smart about it. You have to do your research, because, when I first started, my main goal was obviously just lose a bunch of weight. I was really overweight at the time. I said I was at my heaviest. My main thought was I just want to push it off as fast as I can. And what I ended up doing, which I heavily recommend people don't do, is I went on my Fitness Pal. I saw that the absolute lowest you can make it was 1,200 calories per day.
Ooh. 1,200 calories a day for a guy your size? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
you got to be at 2,500, like at least.
Yeah.
And that would be cutting weight for you.
Yep.
Because for you probably need for maintenance, what, about 3,200?
Yeah, around there. I would say 31, 3,200, yeah.
Yeah. So that's funny. Like, I mean, am I actually right there?
No, yeah.
I'm a decent estimator like of that. Like for now, I mean, it depends upon how much you work out. Because you work out more, it's going to add 300 calories on. Like people don't realize how few calories are burned in a workout. You go in there for a lifting session, you're probably going to get like 400 or 500 calories burned.
Yeah.
You can eat
on average,
two Snickers bars, and you've ruined a whole workout.
Yep.
So it's like you can't outwork. All of a sudden you get a little bit more hungry after your workout. And, I'll do the healthy thing. I have an apple. Great, cool. You're still in the calorie zone. You're good. And then later at night you're a little bit weaker. I'll have a Snickers bar. It's fine. And then you're getting closer. And then you have like one more thing because you're weak, and boom! All of a sudden, in like 3 small snacks, you're done.
Completely. It's a lot. it's a lot to get used to.
Yeah.
Because even back then, I had no idea. Like I knew what a calorie, I guess, was in terms of like in general.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much calories was in anything I was eating.
Most people don't.
Once I figured out, it was definitely a shock.
Most people have absolutely no idea of these concepts, not because they're hard concepts, but because they just don't look into them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, you look into the more serious, you know, content of researching. You don't have to go on Google Scholar. Now, that's what I do. Like, I might go on Google Scholar. You might go on Google Scholar. Like, for me, I know, like, there are certain things where it's like, oh, kettlebell swings. That helps high school female athletes decrease the risk of MCL injuries. Like I specifically do stuff for specific athletes. The only reason I know that is because, you know, you get someone in and you're like, okay, they have this potential issue. You look it up. But, you know, for like the general person there, and even for most information, I just go on a regular Google search, you know, because it's out there. There are other people who take the scholar articles, put them together, and make easier to read articles.
Oh yeah.
You know, now if you're looking for such a specific situation, man, going on Google Scholar, going on like some actual research stuff, it's a hassle to read, but it's helpful.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, I'd say like when it boils down to it, really, if your main goal is to just like, you know, lose a bit of pounds, get in shape, you really don't have to overcomplicate things. As long as, you know, you're consistently working out, you know, you're having fun with it, keeping count of your calories, you know, making sure you're eating right, the results are going to happen, you know. It's just you got to be patient, really. That's what it boils down to.
So, let's see from here. What's the most extreme thing you've seen a client do that you're just like, whoa, like I don't want you doing that. Like someone who just like is like, you know, like going crazy.
Well, one of my main client right now, I'm not gonna say his full name, you know, for his sake. I call him Bob. Yeah, I literally.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Oh man, he's no, he's a little bit older guy. I think he's around like 65 right now, and he's trying to like get back in shape, but he has a couple of like hip problems, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, the very first session, you kind of want to like test out, see what he can do, what he can't, you know, where to go from there.
Yeah.
And the very first thing he wanted to try doing, well, I wanted him to do was squats. You know, just to see
just
like
try to get a basic pattern. Like how does he work with that pattern? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you know, I mostly wanted to, you know, check on like his depth, make sure everything what needed to be worked on.
Yeah, you could see a lot. Like guys, if you're looking for like seeing how you move, the squat pattern is huge. And that's what most if you got a good trainer, the first thing they're going to tell you is, you know, one of two movements. Either just a regular squat or an overhead squat with a dowel. Those two movements, depending upon the person, if the person has like inflexibilities in their upper body, you add that overhead dowel squat. That can help you with a lot of stuff in the upper body while still checking the lower body. If you're just working with someone with hip issues, like, and you're like, okay, I'm a little bit less worried about the upper body, you can just look at that regular squat pattern. So you really should be checking out your squats. And if you don't have a trainer, you can't afford a trainer, take a video of yourself, watch someone online who has a perfect squat, you know, like a demonstration, and compare your video front and side, you know, because even the people who can't afford trainers, like, guys, we want you to train with us. I want you to train right here with this beautiful man. But, you know, you guys can't afford to have me come to your house. You can't afford to go to the gym with him or have him come to your house. Take advantage. We've all got these awesome pieces of equipment, $1,000 pieces of equipment sitting in our pockets every day, you know? So let's keep going with him. Like, he was doing crazy stuff. Like, you're getting him to do a squat.
Yeah, so I had him just hold the empty bar, right? No squat. I mean,
front squat or back squat?
Back squat.
Back squat, okay.
Yeah. I told him, look, right now, this is literally just a test. I just want to see how far it goes down. Don't push yourself too hard. You know, he did a couple, and it really, you know, he didn't have a lot of depth at all, really. Yeah. So, which was kind of what I expected. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I told him give me 1 second. I want to run downstairs, grab my pen so I could like record this in the notes. I run down. I swear I took only about 30 seconds at most.
So you took 30 seconds, sprint down, sprint back
Run
up.
down,
That 30
got in the
seconds is a
office.
lot of time for someone to do something stupid sometimes.
I come back up. This dude has a plate. He's just loading it up. And he's just walking towards it. And you've seen like how Blink's set up, right? There are 2 squat racks there.
Yeah.
I'm looking directly at him, but I'm kind of like, there's a lot of people, so I can't really see completely. So I'm still walking kind of casually. And I see him try to lift it up. And I notice, like, wait a minute, is that my client?
No.
Oh, no. Wait, stop. I sprint over. I swear my heart dropped. I saw it. He was about to die.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you know, people picking up weights, that is like those moments that you have. Every trainer has them where you just like, you like have these quick, like, little learning moments where you're like, okay, I got to be careful. Like, people will do things like that make no sense, like outside their realm of capability, you know? So it's like, you get like 1 or 2 scary moments and then you're like, okay, you know, pick that one up there. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
And he's a crazy guy too. It's his progress has been insane. I remember only like, I think 3 weeks in to working out, I wanted to try just split squats with him. No weight, no nothing.
Yeah.
Just see how it looks. Even though he still had hip problems still, you know, it's not that much progress. Like, I still didn't trust him like on squat racks. I had him do medicine ball squats. I set him up on the split squat. The man bust out like 12 reps flawlessly.
Those split squats are a great move.
Oh,
especially for people who've got hip issues.
Yeah, no, which is why I saw it. These probably aren't going to go that well. Like, you know, probably maybe one good one, and after that, it's probably nothing crazy. No, my dude, they were better than mine. I was like, let's see something. Here, try holding these like 20s real quick. I have them do Bulgarians now. Again, flawlessly, better than mine. I was so shocked.
Sometimes it's that one leg stuff, because I find that the 2-leg moves are tough for people with hip inflexibilities, but as soon as you get the one leg in front of the other, they're able to like support themselves and compensate a little bit better. So like, you got someone who's like, I'm gonna load up the barbell with 800 pounds, get underneath it, and then snap my back. It's like, okay, let's get you doing some split squats, and then we're gonna do it like perfectly. So you've got that situation right there. That's always how it is. It's like, you know, I've got a client I'm working with on like doing flips on the trampoline and stuff, and like we're doing a front flip, and all of a sudden he tries for a back flip and lands on his neck, and I'm like, that's not what we were working today. Like, I didn't get to show you that. Like, I don't want you to die. Yeah. Like, I don't want you to put 300 pounds on here and break your back, because we got to train to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a pretty crazy experience, always having clients pick up bigger weights than they should have. You know, because I've got a client who, you know, it did the opposite, about the same age, actually within 3 years. And he's okay with me saying his name. So Mark has had massive gains in strength, capability, everything. A couple years back, he was super fit. He did CrossFit. Then COVID hit, right? Didn't work out for 3 years. Lost everything. Like, reset his capabilities. Like, it was he was worse off than before, and like couldn't do a split squat without helping himself with boxes like on his sides.
Yeah.
So he's practically doing a tricep extension to get himself back up off the ground to do the split squat. Yeah, couldn't do a standard squat like with any weight, nothing. Like, so this was working with TRX straps, like the exercises for injured people, you know? And now, literally like 6 months later, he can do split squats with 220s. So he's a 40-pound split squat. He can do step-ups onto a 20-inch box holding good amount of weight.
Oh, wow.
He can do pull-ups. So just doing 2 things, finding someone's capabilities, and then not limiting them once you've found them. If you get the correct starting point and push from there, you know, like, I know that at the start of my career, like 3 years ago, I know I would have been too careful with him, you know?
Yeah.
And we would have gone like 2 times as slow. Like, we were still careful, but I'm like, every week, if you hit it, just push him up. And just push him up. just push them up, you know. And then obviously there are times you got to slow down a little bit, but you know, you don't limit people, but you also limit them the first day.
Yeah, exactly. Because like that's my biggest that's the biggest fear, honestly, right now is just
keeping people safe,
making sure you don't break your spine, don't tear your quads.
Yeah.
Like, please just listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because the very last thing I want to see is someone else getting hurt because of me. Like, I'm fine with myself getting hurt because of what I do.
Well, no, it wouldn't be because of you. It would be because they didn't listen to you. You know,
Exactly.
because that's the thing, guys. If you're paying for a trainer, it's because you trusted them enough to purchase a package at the gym, or when they came to your house, they gave you, you know, they gave you the entire process of what they would do as a trainer, and you liked the process, you liked the trainer, you liked their certifications, and you trust them. So why not trust them during the session?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you made a decision at the beginning, like, oh, I'm paying this person for their skills, for their expertise. You know, I have to make sure that this relationship is a two-way street where, first of all, I'm listening to them when they're limiting me. And if we're pushing a little too hard, you let the trainer know, because the trainer is taught to take the feedback and, you know, pull it back the way that you need to. Yeah. So it goes on both ends. You have to listen to the trainer, and the trainer has to listen to you, and that's how it's a relationship. You know, that's one of the biggest, most important things that people don't realize when they get into it. This is a natural stopping point. Just going to make sure that it's still recording again.
Oh yeah, sure, no problem.
Because we're getting a lot of good content right now. Nice. Okay, so we got about you know, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes left, depending upon how much you want to talk, you know, where you want to take it. Do you have any topics you want to flow through anymore? Go through?
I was actually the topic on, I guess, like starting out in the gym that we were just going over, like what you would do, I guess, if you're like new and trying to get into it.
Okay.
Like, so just sort of like
keep going through
mistakes, that? You know.
Okay. So I got, yeah, cool. All right. So let's just move through. When we're talking about clients getting into the gym, you just gave the things to start with. Like, you gave suggestions for the newbies in and out of the gym. Now, let's talk about the mistakes you see. So you just did what you should do. Now, let's take it and go, well, this is what a lot of people make mistakes on. Let's get like a couple different suggestions on those things. Because I'm glad that you really took us in this direction, because a lot of the times we get trainers telling you, do this, do this, do this, do this. Now, you know, you're like, we got to tell people what mistakes they're making. So let's go after that. What are your thoughts?
So yeah, I think I already might have mentioned before, ego lifting. Obviously, that's not something, you know, I'd recommend anybody really do ever. You know, but besides that, I'd say you shouldn't be too focused on one specific goal while you're in the gym. Like, if you're in there and your main objective is gaining strength, for example, right? Like, you don't care about building muscle or anything else like cardio, none of that. You're in there just to build strength. Like,
you should focus on one goal, or you shouldn't.
You shouldn't just focus completely on one goal, because your body needs multiple different activities to be doing while you're in the gym, I would say. Like, I'll put it like this. Last year, me and my one friend, we made it our sole mission to bulk up and just get crazy strong. No, we didn't care about muscles at that point or the body fat. It was just, listen, we want to hit crazy weight. And what we ended up doing was we stopped running. We stopped doing all cardio altogether. Our diet went to complete crap. Because
just eating calories just to fuel the machine.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like,
that's all it is.
We gotta hit 4,000 calories a day, man. We gotta do what we gotta do.
I hate those, man. I hate those times. You know, I love eating a lot, but those days where you gotta shove more food in, that's why your diet goes to crap. You
Yep.
know, you're not going to eat 20 pounds of celery like to
Exactly.
make that like it just doesn't work. Sometimes you just got to like go in and like have a feast on McDonald's, and that's not the way to do it. You know, like I use peanut butter a lot. That's what I used when I was doing my bulking and strength work, because if you get like a good quality peanut butter, it's better than like going to McDonald's because you can like dip celery in it. Like you can still make it a little bit like better, but it's still like just that raw amount of calories isn't good for you.
Yeah,
you know,
it's terrible.
so focusing 100% on one goal is too much, and you've made that mistake, like that 4,000 calorie day, probably eating McDonald's and all that to get there.
Taco Bell,
Yeah,
all of that. You know, it was
actually,
really
there's
rough.
something about Taco Bell. There are okay things on their menu. You can always find it. I'm not saying good options. You can always find an okay option no matter where you are.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, at least personally, I just don't trust Taco Bell. There's no way those meats are real.
Well, I'm not saying trust it for your everyday diet.
No,
but
yeah.
if your friends are going on a drive-through and they're only going through one, you gotta learn, guys. This is big too. Learning to pick the least bad option.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily you're not always going to be able to pick the perfect option, but if you go in there knowing, okay, well, I know the McDonald's salads aren't great, you know, they're not perfect for you. But if I make sure that I've got the dressing on the side and I only really eat the vegetables, they're not the best quality vegetables, but you know, it's something rather than nothing. Because those dressings have like 800 calories in them.
Oh yeah, they're ridiculous. I didn't even realize how much it was until I inputted them in my Fitness Pal.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe my eyes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So let's so focusing on 100% on one goal is too much. But let's say you are trying to gain strength, like a year ago or a year and a half ago. You were eating 4,000 calories a day, McDonald's, Taco Bell, all that deal. Now, if you are a guy who wants to go in, because a lot of guys are like this, guys go two ways most of the time. I want to put on as much muscle as possible, so they go bodybuilding reps and eat like a bodybuilder. Or I want to put on as much strength as possible, like you, eat a lot and lift heavy. If you want to be that guy who eats a lot and wants to lift heavy, how much of your goal should it be? Because you said it can't be 100%. Should it be 80% of your goal, and then like you got 20% focused on health? Like what level of your actual goals should your main goal be?
I would say anywhere from 60 to 75%, because I feel like any higher than that, and you're gonna risk going tunnel vision. You know, like you're gonna completely forget about everything else. Like,
Yeah.
and just say, all right, listen, no matter what, I'm going to get this big by this point or else, you know, like you're going to hard focus just on that specific goal. And before you know it, a couple months have passed and it's like, yeah, I'm bigger now. I'm stronger, but I ended up eating way too much. Now I have to cut back down. You know, that's pretty much what happened with me. I made a lot of strength gains I was pretty proud of. But then come like April and May, it's like, okay, well now I have to cut all this out. I got pretty fat.
And that's a tough thing to do again. Yeah. Especially when you first went into the gym to lose fat. You lost all the fat and now you're like, I want to lift heavy, and now you're fat again.
Yeah.
So it's like, going to the gym, let's lose all my fat. Okay, all right, now I want to get strong. Eats 4,000 calories, puts all the weight back on. I'm back where I started, except I'm a little bit stronger now. What the
Pretty much. It's definitely a lot of mental gymnastics, you know, like and especially like right after something like that too, going back in the mindset of like cutting after I just spent the last 4 months eating Taco Bell consistently. Definitely took me like, I want to say I didn't start actually cutting weight seriously till like December of that year.
This one's like very loud.
Yeah.
This one's specifically loud. Do you mind also speaking up just like a little bit louder? Because I don't know why, but right now there seems to be a crap ton of big trucks passing by.
I saw, there was like some construction.
Yeah, because like, you know, it wasn't, it was like not too bad the first half, but now that it's like more trucks, do you mind speaking up just a little bit? Because I think we were getting it fine for the first like half, but now I don't know what the hell's going on. But yeah, so All right, so let's continue on. I'm sorry about the trucks.
Oh no, no, it's all good. Yeah, no, I mean, I would just say like, whatever your goal is in the gym right now, obviously put a lot of attention towards it, but you have to still like balance things out, You have to go get your cardio in. It's just good for you. Like it's
Yeah,
good for your health, it's good for your heart. Have to make sure you're eating properly despite
yeah,
whatever your goals are. You can't just start eating crap because you want to
yeah,
get bigger, and you can't decide to eat nothing because you want to get smaller.
yeah. Well, you'll increase your risk of osteoporosis later on. There are, the marathon runners, their hearts become they basically become too muscular, and actually it can cause heart attacks later on. So all those elite guys running 2 hour long marathons, they're actually increasing the risk of heart attack. And on the complete other end, the bodybuilders, man, how many bodybuilders? I think it was like something like 26 or 30 famous bodybuilders died in the last year.
Yeah.
And that's so sad. It's like you go on both ends and your heart swells up and collapses.
Yep.
And that's literally on both ends. You see the skinny, like emaciated, fast marathon runners, and you see the swollen up bodybuilders. Both of them, their hearts
Yep. They just
muscular,
can't take
and they
it.
just go out. It's sad. So
Yeah.
you don't want to end up on that end of things. It's just not worth it. Your friends, your
Exactly.
family. It's so much more time that you could spend with them that you get. Um,
Yeah. It's like the main goal was just to get in shape for my body.
yeah.
I can't, I don't want to risk putting my body at more health because now I can't stop working out. So
Well, taking that slow route too will get you where you want to go. Because for me, I was just desperately wanting to get strong, stuffing my face in college, same kind of deal. I would literally just take burger patties, like because my college, I was on what we have is that you would swipe in to the meal hall and you get as much food as you want.
oh
So it's like a bodybuilder's dream.
yeah.
I don't know if you should trust the meat there either, but you have to, because that's all they got. But so I would literally just take the buns, throw them away, eat raw stacks of burger patties. Like I would like
Oh man.
it would just be like so terrible. I have like a nice big salad, which is great, but then I would just totally ruin it with like a pound and a half of beef that's of a quality I have absolutely no idea. Cisco beef. But like I still eat a lot, but it's just now it's burning a lot cleaner.
Yeah. It's definitely, I think your body's definitely a lot more grateful now.
Yeah, well, especially since I'm not like the low body fat that I felt sick, and like you get way too low on the body fat scale too. Your immune system craps out, and like yeah, great, you got cut up abs, but like you start to feel really bad.
Yeah.
Like I know that in a shirt I looked super skinny because I was 155 pounds, and 150 pounds. I take my shirt off, be cut up. Everyone at the beach would be like, "Oh man, you're so big." Then all of a sudden, I put a T-shirt on and I look skinny. And it's like, what's the
Yeah.
point of that? You want to fill out a T-shirt. So now I'm 13 to 15% body fat. I guarantee you're not 6% body fat right now.
No.
But
No.
dude, you fill out a shirt. You know what I mean? And you're at a
Yeah.
healthy body fat, and you probably feel good.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's the big thing, having a chest that looks good, arms that look good. I know that, my wife is happier because my arms fill out a little bit better and get more muscle on them when I am at that 13 to 15% body fat, around there. I've been able to put on 15 pounds, and feel better with it. And I didn't put on too much more fat, a couple percentage points just to the level where it's a healthy athletic point. So guys, don't let yourself get into that, like cut down my calories to 1,000 calories, get like just lean out so much, and then all of a sudden you got great abs, but you're feeling like crap. It's
You're
not
feeling
worth it.
horrible. Yeah.
It's not
It's
worth it.
definitely not. Yeah. When
Build
I
up your
first,
chest, your arms, and your legs. People like the way you look.
exactly. Trust me. Boys have abs, men have traps. So
Hey, I like that one. Yeah, as long as you got a flat belly, you know, you got some muscle built, and your cardio is pretty good. You're in a good spot.
yep.
You're better off than 99% of American men.
Exactly.
As long as you're
Yeah.
not, well, the thing is actually, you can technically be obese because of muscle. People don't know that too.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
technically overweight.
Same.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you knew that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So technically, we're both like healthy body fat percentage wise. This is another thing people don't know. Body fat percentage is a better determiner of like your health. Like,
Over
over like
like
the
BMI.
BMI. Yeah.
Yeah.
BMI is good, but body fat percentage is better.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
Because
at the 13 to 15% rather than focusing on my BMI, because my BMI says I'm overweight and I'm not going to cut hard earned muscle. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly. Like I feel like BMI is definitely more of just like an in general sort of look at things, like because not everybody goes to the gym.
Yeah.
So, you have a wide variety of different body types out there. So,
It's a quick gauge for
yeah.
someone who doesn't have a body testing capability. But do you have a body fat scale?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's these days it's so affordable.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, they're like
My
30,
best
40
friend actually
bucks.
got me one as a birthday gift, and I was
Yeah.
stoked.
They're like 30, 40 bucks. People should be able to just like go out there. I know, we're not necessarily in the best economy, but like it's worth it for your health.
Definitely. Over a regular scale, 100%. Because the weight on the normal scale, you start to realize that doesn't matter nearly as much as like
Mm-hmm.
just overall how you feel, how you look, and your body fat percentage. Like
Yep. And
those
get
are
one that's connected
definitely
based on Bluetooth. One
yeah,
that's got an app, it'll just track it right for you. For me, now one of the big things for me is they're not super accurate. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's a variation, so you got to measure yourself at the same time every day. But what I like to say about my scale is not accurate. My scale is precise. So those are two different things, and we learned about those in science and everything.
sorry,
Basically, accuracy is more important than precision is more important than accuracy, because your body fat scale might say, oh, you're 13%, you're 15%, you're 10%, and every time you step on it, it gives you a completely different number. But that number is close to your amount. So when I get accurately tested, I'm between 13 and 15%. That's when I go to a professional place to get it done. But I'll step on my scale and it says I'm 24%. But if you go to the professional place, test, 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 it'll always say 14%. If you step on my scale at home, test, test, test right after each other, it'll always say 24%. I know that my scale is exactly 10 points off.
yep,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Like
But if my scale said 15, I kept stepping on it, it said 15, 13, 14, 12, 15, 13. I'd rather get the consistent answer because you could track that over time.
yep,
It's like how I'd rather have, like, say you're learning how to bench, right?
yeah,
You have a company that makes really cheap weight plates and they like undersell you on the iron because they're trying to save some money. And like each 45-pound plate is like actually 40 pounds. And then you got a company that's, a little bit more expensive and they're okay adding a little bit more iron. And then it's like one of their plates is 43, one of their plates is 45. I'm sorry, one of their plates is 46, one of their plates is 48, one of their plates is 47. I'd rather the company that sells me lighter plates, but they're all exactly 40 pounds. Because then you can track yourself better. If your
yeah,
plates are all over the place, you might consistently put 48-pound plates on this side and 45-pound plates on this side, and your workouts are crappy because all of a sudden this side feels heavier. And now I think my right side is weaker because it feels heavier, but my right side's actually stronger because it's training with heavier weight. So all of a sudden this side feels weaker. I do extra dumbbell bench on this side and I'm strengthening the strong side. So it's
yeah,
like it's weird. We need precision.
yeah. Definitely, I'd say it's definitely more important to be like consistently inaccurate because
Yeah.
that was definitely a struggle for me. At least I don't know about you. When it came to like counting calories at first, I was like a mess trying to figure out the exact accurate amount. Like, what
Yeah.
am I eating? I want to know the down to the last digit, like what I ate
Mm-hmm.
today, so I knew what to burn. Now I've sort of realized I'm probably never going to ever understand how many calories I actually ate today or how much I burned. But as long as I'm consistently doing this amount and I'm seeing results,
Yeah.
okay, at the very least, I'm in that general range of where I want to be.
So for me, I've got the digital scale, which is pretty darn good. It's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect unless you go to a laboratory over at like the university, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're going to go do, scientific analysis of your calories, you won't be perfect. But like you said, for me, I'll give 40 grams of my oatmeal. I'm using the same scale every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put it into my tracker. My tracker is going to say, about where it's supposed to be. I use the, packages. I scan the packages because the one that I use, LifeSum, it allows you to scan the barcode.
Oh, yeah.
So then you can use the grams of the food that is based on the barcode scanned of the exact company. So MyFitnessPal, I don't know, can you scan barcodes?
You used to be able to, and then
Not
they
anymore?
made it a premium feature.
Oh, see,
So, but I
grab
know what you
LifeSum.
mean, though. Yeah.
LifeSum, that's part of their free still. Yeah, so if you want to be able to scan the barcodes, guys, that's one of the big things. That's the reason I'm on LifeSum. You could scan the barcode, and they allow you to measure out the portions based on grams from the specific company that you're using. So I can be very close. My calorie count is probably plus or minus like 50 to 100 calories a day. Like I said, I'd rather be precise than super accurate.
Exactly.
In my measurements.
Honestly, I feel kind of scared telling people to get on these calorie counting apps, because while they're as good as they are and they're the best, you might end up on what's it called? You might end up, I want to say like me, to where you kind of can't go back to just not counting calories after a certain point.
I would say
don't know
that's not a
about
bad thing
you.
necessarily, though.
I feel like sometimes when it comes to more public events, like when I'm out with my friends and we're out eating, we're trying to get a steak at any restaurant, and they're just going through the menu, looking at whatever looks good. All I'm thinking about in my mind is how many calories is in that steak? How much butter did they use?
Do you look at the calorie counts on the sides?
Yeah.
So what I do is I look at the calorie counts on the side, and as long as I tracked it for the day, if I'm having my bad day, as long as I tracked it, I count it as a win. You know what I mean? Because especially in our life, most days are normal days. Even for the person who goes out a lot, most days are a normal day. And if on your normal days your calories are under where they need to be, that'll make up for one bad day.
Yeah.
So you think about how often do you go out? Out to eat, for,
probably once a week,
Yeah. That's 1/7 of the time.
Yeah.
Look, dude, you got shoulders, chest built, everything like that. How many hours a day do you work out?
Hours a day, probably hour and a half at most times,
4, 5, 6. So quick math, I don't know the exact .000. That is 6% of your day.
Yeah.
If you can build a body in 6% of your day, 6 days a week of eating right will take care of that 7th day. But the problem is most people don't go, I'm going to track my calories all week and allow themselves only to eat bad on that one day. Most people go, oh, I ate bad on Sunday. That's fine. I'll just have a couple snacks today that are 500 calorie snacks, because they don't realize 2 Snicker bars, 500 calories, and they add it up, and all of a sudden, even on a good day, they're over by the same amount as on a bad day. So they make the other 6 days a bad day.
Yeah.
So for me, I take that 7th day and I eat whatever I'm going to eat, I order the, 1,500 calorie steak, right? With mashed potatoes on the side and, asparagus, and it all tastes so good. But I order that. As long as I track it, I count that day as a win. Because I kept on the routine of tracking it.
Yeah, definitely. If you miss that tracking, I see what you mean. Especially on a cheat meal, you're not gonna actually know how much it is, so you're kind of just tricking yourself at that point.
What do you think about? What do you think about fat trainers? What do you think about fat trainers? You ever see them?
Fat trainers?
Yeah.
Is that what I think it is? Or
A trainer who is fat. What do you think about fat trainers?
oh, a trainer that is fat. Okay.
Yeah.
I saw you meant a trainer that trained people on how to get fat.
Well, there are actually people out there online who get fat and then get fit with their clients. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah,
before.
that's a good series on YouTube, where they're not training people to get fat, but they are getting fat, and then losing the same amount of weight as the people that are their clients.
Yeah.
But no, I'm talking more about trainers who know all the information, they don't implement it, but they still sell their services. Some people say that's cool. They're selling their knowledge. I say it's a little bit hypocritical, and I wouldn't like that. That's why I force myself to be, on my points. That's why I
Yeah.
need to track my stuff and do what I'm telling people.
Yeah, I mean, because definitely, at least what we do, it's like a lot of times our clients, a lot of the trust they'll have in us, at least in that initial meeting, it's kind of based just off appearance. That's just how it goes for the most part. So I feel like if you're like overweight or just fat, and even though you know all this stuff, I mean, you know what? Actually, I'm not too against it. I would just say you can't push it too hard once you're like a little overweight as a trainer. You have to kind of be self-aware at that point. Like, look, I'm on the bigger side of things. I'm training someone to lose
Yeah,
weight. Obviously, I'm just gonna have to like coach them through on how to do it. But if they don't 100% believe me, or if they have some doubts, I can't be
yeah.
too like I kind of have to realize like, yeah, this is kind of on me. I should probably take my own advice. I
Well,
see what you mean, though. It's
think that
definitely hypocritical
I
in a
think that if
sense.
they're honest about it and they have an understanding or a medical condition, cool.
Yeah.
And the problem for me is I have a tough time with this, right? Because they're impacting people's lives positively. I know a guy who was at a gym I used to work at out in Islip. So it's not my previous job in East Northport, but he was rotund. Like very very big, but he was a trainer, and a lot of the middle-aged women who were trying to lose weight felt very comfortable around him, so they would train, which meant that he was getting people to train,
Yeah.
and training in general helps your heart, helps everything, and he
Mhm.
had one young girl he was training who, she came in super skinny, and man, I saw her gain strength like nobody in that gym. Man, she was
Really?
squatting 225.
Really? Oh,
Yeah. And she was
wow.
fit, she was lean, she was taking his advice. So I go, well, if you get the results in your clients, I don't necessarily know if it matters if you can't apply it to yourself.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, because at the end of the day, that's just the goal, passing along the knowledge.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do feel like it's kind of like, okay, well, I know how to get in shape. I know exactly what to do. I know the downsides, the health risks associated with
Yeah.
being more overweight. Why would I choose not to? That's on you at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't personally like, telling people that are like, on the bigger side of things, like they're like, oh, you should lose weight or stuff like that. I think for like health reasons, you should probably, but
Yeah.
if you're comfortable with it, go for it. I mean, look,
Yeah.
as long as you know, and even if you're a trainer, it's like as long as you know what you're talking about and
I'm
you're
talking
helping
I'm talking
people.
pretty specifically, as in, like, again, it's
Just for
not me.
trainers,
I
yeah.
think it's important to live the lifestyle, but also I do, like you said, like, if you're making a positive impact, that's more important.
Mhm.
And I, again, like, I can say to everybody, listen, obviously everyone believes in their job. They believe in doing what they're supposed to do. You know, mostly. Like,
Yeah.
the most people approach their job and say, well, I want to do a good job at this. Which means your clients do well. But I think that as a trainer, it's a little bit of a obligation, in my belief, to live it as much as you can, barring medical conditions. Anyway, either way on that course, I'm gonna quickly. So let's go through this again real quick. About you, in high school, you went to the gym basically because your parents were trying to help you get healthy. You did end up having a friend who was in the Army who got super fit, and you'd been wrestling and everything, so you kind of wanted to get a little bit more into fitness, get some more appearance aesthetic, add some muscle on there. You guys all got together. You decided at a barbecue to get memberships at Planet Fitness. It's a good place to start out, nice and cheap, very affordable, low barrier to entry, good equipment.
Peace of Mondays.
You had some consistency issues, and your friends helped with that. You guys were 6 clowns in a gym, so you had a good time. And like you said, having a good time is important. Suggestions for the newbies is that fad workouts are not good, and the best thing is to do what you like. So like you said, sometimes what you like is clowning around with your friends. Sometimes it's chest day. Try to keep it even, but find what you love and that thing that gets you to consistently get in the gym. Outside the gym, you can't out-train a bad diet. 100% can't do that. Make sure you do your own research, stay healthy. Don't overcomplicate it. Consistent workouts, consistent diet, consistent healthy food is going to get where you want to go. Mistakes, big stuff. Mistakes here. Don't ego lift, you're going to mess up your back. Focus on one goal mostly, but make sure you hit everything that you need to for health. Because if you're 100% out on that one goal, you're going to get injured again. So 60 to 75% should be on your major goal. And then you should make sure you hit the other percentages for other stuff, because tunnel vision is no good. Do you have any other advice?
None that I can think of right now. I mean, I'd say my biggest advice to anybody new going to the gym, looking for results, just stay patient. You can't expect overnight change in just 1 week, but trust me, once you start seeing those results, it's gonna feel amazing. You're gonna keep going. You just have to wait till you get over that hump, But it will happen. You just gotta stay patient.
All right, so your social media, if anybody wants to get in contact with you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Oghena88, Oghena 88 on Instagram.
All right. And thank you guys very much for coming to the podcast. Follow me, Sweatshirt Fitness, on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Got a lot of different posts on there about health and the progress of my clients. So contact me. We'll talk about setting up a, session to get you into getting fit. Have a nice day. Stay happy, healthy, and hydrated.